Today in our video, we decided to do the cycle of poverty, mainly because it was such an interesting aspect of life. You know, my parents grew up in a very poor community, in a very poor neighborhood, and even my grandmother was poor. That matters. But anyways, so I thought it'd be interesting. So me, Patrick, and the rest of the two other guys, we're splitting up this project, and they're going to be doing the writing portion of it, and we're going to be doing the videography portion. What you're going to see in this video is a little bit of Skid Row, some of the, how do I put it, the government housing, I guess you could say, and a few other things as well in this video. So what's really interesting about the cycle of poverty is some of the stuff that you actually see, it's systematic, meaning that the government, in essence, has created a system in which the poor people, it is difficult for them to break the cycle, because normally poor communities have less funding because of their low tax returns, and so it makes it a little bit difficult for the city to be able to fund something that's good, as well as with parenting. Again, the cycle is that they are working a lot of the time, so they have less time to take care of the children, so they are kind of grown up on themselves, and they don't really learn a lot of the good motives that they should be. And so that's just a general idea of the cycle of poverty. There's a lot of different factors as well, and we'll go ahead and do that in the video.
The cycle of poverty has been a huge problem in the United States, especially in places with large populations. The majority of the people living there live in poverty. The cause of this cycle could be a lack of education or the struggle to break out of the cycle. The cycle can last longer than a person's lifetime and usually can head into generations of families. In today's economy, we see poverty at its worst because of the lack of jobs. Many lower income families struggle to find a job to break out of the cycle. With jobs at a low and families with low income, another factor one must consider is family size and how it can make even harder to break out of the cycle of poverty. A family living in poverty will stay in poverty unless some outside factor were to break the cycle. In Los Angeles, 38% of the population lives in economic hardship, and 17.5% live under the federal poverty limit, which is $23,000 in 21 for a family of four. The reason being is due to the lack of jobs and the size of families. There are many families in poverty that decide to have many kids, and most of them will just continue in their parents' footsteps. They most likely will not try to further their education past high school and just decide to work lower income jobs because that is all they know. Those who break the cycle of poverty are determined and further their education to obtain high income jobs, and they will be able to support a family. We see that a majority of these in poverty are white, Mexican, and black families. This can be due to gang activity in major cities. Living in a poor community, people will do almost anything for money, and they will want money for the easiest and quickest way possible. This is where drug dealing and gangs get involved in the cycle of poverty. This ultimately does not break the cycle, but extends the progression of the cycle, influencing many people to join the gangs. All these disadvantages make it hard for low-income families to get out of poverty. The disadvantages that they face while in poverty only make it worse for them, so it is very rare seeing a rapid change of wealth in a family. It usually takes time for a family to grow out of the poverty and takes determination to want to educate oneself. Poverty is a big problem in the US, and it only gets worse with the population increasing, making harder and harder to find jobs. One must realize that this is a problem and that we can do something to help change this so that it no longer has to be a cycle.